I'm just gonna set up here a little bit. I'll put this here and make it a little bit smaller so you can see what's going on. And I think I'm not sure. Okay, I think I'll use oh, it's not even, well, okay, I have to create a folder here. Let me create a document just to set up. I'm going to make an HTML file. I'll rename this to, what's today's tutorial? I'll just call it overlap grid. Overlap grid, that's enough. Okay, I'll open this up. I think I'll use the, not Guinea, just use this one as well. Okay, slap it here. Oh, I think I'll just resize it. There it should go. Okay, that's fine. And I'll zoom in a little bit. Okay, let's get started. So greetings, this is Edward Ojambo, and in this tutorial we're going to talk about overlapping grid items using the CSS Grid. Quick reminder that every day I host a live stream, but this month it's going to be a little bit weird because there's going to be about 3 days I won't be able to host a live stream, but I'll put up a video for you guys so you don't miss anything. So with that said, be sure to subscribe, like, follow, and leave comments for more frequent content. Okay, now back to the tutorial. As you can see here in this banner, I have the tux, this guy here. I have this cube fire, and I have learning JavaScript banner as well. So as you can see, I also deliberately showed you that this image are actually overlapping the grid. So sometimes you may want to do something like this you might want to do deliberately. For example, maybe you want to do an effect like a card effect where things are behind each other or in front of each other. You might want to do the effect, so you can use CSS grids for that. Of course, you can also use the absolute positioning and do that as well. But grid is pretty better for that because with grid, everything will resize based on how you set up the grid. Instead of, for example, if you do the absolute positioning, you have to be careful with that. For example, if it's a small screen, you need to change it so it'll be more work. So that's as you can see right here. For example, right here, you see this? This banner actually takes over the fourth or the second row, the first cell, and you see text part of this as well. So that's why it's overlapping. And then this tux as well is overlapping a little bit. And this cube file, you see it's overlapping the first row, second cell or column into the third column, as you can see here. So that's why I drew this lines, just to show you that this is overlapping. So obviously, if you don't want that feature, I'll show you how to also remove it so everything just fits perfectly into their grid. And when you resize everything, everything will fit perfectly as well. Okay, so. I didn't know what to title. I didn't know what to title this because I said you might want that or you might not. So obviously, if your purpose is to just put things into basically individual cell rows and columns, then you do not want that. So as you can see, this is clearly something you do not want. So that's why I have the title here. Says how to handle overlapping grid items in the CSS grid. So it's a pretty powerful tools. For example, two-dimensional layouts, as I just explained. When you say handling of overlapping grid items, you're working with responsible designs, that's what I just said, or trying to perfect the positioning of items. So one of the problems you might have is, this is the same thing with if you're using tables as well, is that, for example, all these images are different size. For example, clearly this banner here is a 16:9 aspect ratio. And as you can see, the tux penguin here is clearly vertical. It might actually even be a square. Let me actually double check on that. I think it's actually a square. Well, close enough to a square. It's 400 pixels by 438 pixels. Pretty much a square. And then this cube one, this one is also, if I'm correct, it's a 16:9 aspect ratio. Let's check that out. Yeah, it's 16:9, 1280 by 720. And as I said, this one, I know this one is clearly a 16 by 9, yeah, 1280 by 720. So the problem is these two are a 16 by 9 aspect ratio, and this penguin is close to 1-to-1 ratio. So as you can see, there's going to be some overlap. So I'll show you how to fix that in today's tutorial. All right, and then I have code here. The first code is the code that shows them overlapping, and then the second code is where I fix the overlapping so they're all perfectly together. And the explanation is here. As you can see here, I also exaggerated the I also exaggerated just to show you. For example, this one here, I gave it a color because the problem with drawing these lines is that it puts a little overlap and it doesn't look as nice. So I exaggerated here. As you can see, I did exaggerate, and you can see what happens. The tux penguin and the cube fire, and then obviously below the in green, so red, blue, green. I purposely chose those colors, and again when I put it here, you can see now it's perfectly, everything is perfectly aligned into their grid cells. Okay, and with that said, and this is the live video, so if you don't want to obviously you guys are watching this live, so I don't need to, I'm basically, as I say, preaching to the choir here. You guys know that you're watching this video live, so I don't need to promote that. You can also watch the embedded video on the article on ojambo.com. And if you need help with the CSS grids, obviously you can contact me for one-on-one HTML5 tutorials. I'm available. Also, I can create custom lesson plans and hands-on support and flexible scheduling to fit your time zone. Okay, you can contact me directly, and you can inquire now on ojambo.com/contact, or you can go to ojamboservices.com and the contact page. Okay, with that out of the way, let's actually get started in the tutorial today. So as I said, I have this, I need to open up a browser as well so you can see the changes. I open up, open up the browser here, and I'll put it in the background. So actually, I think let me drag the file. What did we call it? I think this is the one here. Oh, Wayland, come on. There we go. All right, so here we are. Okay. I shouldn't delete everything. I think I need some. Oh yeah, I can delete everything. So what I'm going to do is I am going to I'll copy the code and then I'll explain it. That way I don't make any mistakes. So the doc type, HTML tags, and then the head section, I just give it a name. And obviously I put some styling here. This is not so important. I give it a background color. Just put something in background so it's not so boring. And then you see the container here. I put display grid, and I put grid template. So basically, if you don't know what this is, we can actually go right here. You see, this is the items, and then this is the one here. You see, it says container 3 1 FR, and then I gave it the rows. I made all the rows 100 pixels by 100 pixels, and I put a gap, and then a max width, and so forth and so forth. So I'm going to change this to 100 pixels by 100 pixels, just so you can see the overlap. Okay, and then the figures here, I gave each of them a padding. So this is this part here, and none of this should be actually making it, that shouldn't matter. And then the first one, I gave it a background of red. You see end type of 1. You can do this as well, item 1, item 2. I said I wanted to be a little bit more fanciful because I am a programmer after all. The second item, the third item. So you see the second item, I made it blue. The third item, I made it green. And then because the image is inside, I gave them each of them an aspect ratio of 16 by 9. And I set them to fill. And then what else did I do here? The fig caption. I'll explain this, what that is. So you can see I used figures here. And the fig caption, that's the figure caption. You see the first one is a tux penguin, second one is a cube fire, third one is the loading JavaScript banner, and these are the images here. So it's pretty simple. So I'm going to save this, and then I'm going to come here, and as you can see, this is exactly what I was trying to tell you. So that's why I gave them a background color. Now, based on the background color, you can see that there's an overlapping problem, right? So for example, I don't need to do an inspect. I would do an inspect anyways, but just to show you, as I said, I did this deliberately to exaggerate the problem. See, as you can see, it's a red, blue, and green. And if you look at the images themselves, you see they're outside their container. You see, for example, this penguin here, it's actually overlapping into the second row. And this one here is actually outside of the grid. And this one as well. So I did that deliberately just to show you how the overlapping is. For example, if I do an inspect here, if I go to inspect, I'll put it here so you can see what I'm getting at. You see when I'm going to go to the container. You see the container? Let me actually make this a little bit smaller. Actually, I don't need the console. How do I close the console? The console is not needed. How do I can close this. There we go. So if I put this here, I just want to show you something here. So see if I go here, you can now see that you can see what happens there. You see, you can actually see the overlapping. You see all the images do overlap. You see, if you see that little, I think it's like a purplish color, that's the grid, but you can see everything does overlap. I did that on purpose just to show you that sometimes when you use grid, especially when you have images, even in this case, even though I made them all 100 by 100, it still overlaps. So that's what we're going to fix today, if you want to use grids. Okay, so with that said, I think I'll leave this open because I'm probably going to use it again. So if we go back to our code here, and then we go and expand, here's how we could fix the overlap. So let's go and fix the overlap. As you can see here, one way to do it, you can say grid 1, for the first item, you say grid 1, 1. So let's go to our CSS. So example here, you see grid 1, grid column 1, grid row 1. Second one, you put grid column 2 and grid column 1, grid row 2. That's for the third one. The second one will be grid column 2, grid row 1. So that's one way to fix the issue. And then I believe, yeah, so that's one way to fix the issue. Now, that also assumes that everything is perfectly the same size, which, as I told you before, it's not, even though I forced it to be. As you saw, the red, blue, and green was still not properly in their sizes. So in order to fix it like this one here or this one here, that's what we're going to do. So if you remember, one of the changes I made was here, the grid template rows. So if we change that to 1FR, and now we go back to our code here and do a quick refresh, you see, now it's fixed. You see that simple? Now, you're not going to find that fix anywhere on the internet. They will tell you how to fix it this way, that way, but as I said, I had to come up with this myself. And the reason is because I've had a client and he's not a programmer, so he always comes to me. The funny thing is actually a designer. So he comes to me when he has problems with things like this, and I help him as well. So I also learn myself. I'm saying that's one thing I like about programming is it's never static. I also learn myself. Now, you see what happens now. Everything is perfectly fixed. You see in the red, in the blue, and in the green. And you see what I wanted was I wanted this fig caption to be at the bottom, and it is. And you see now everything fits perfectly. So if we do an inspect now, and put it, you see, look how perfect it is now. You see everything fits into each own cell or each row and column perfectly. You see that? Everything is fitting perfectly, and that's what you would want, especially when you have images, or if you had videos, it would fit absolutely perfect. So as I said before, is that I don't know if something changed, and maybe the previous method like I showed you used to work in the past, but this, I like this method better. All we did is we did the grid template rows. We set it to 1FR. So that basically means that fit each item into its own little perfectly into its cell and don't allow things to overlap. That's basically so. Let's check it out what it will look like on a mobile device. So I'm going to click this little item here to toggle the device bar. I'm using Chromium-based browser. So by right now it's using the responsive design, and that's what I'm going to stick to. So here I'll show you what happens when it's you see it fits perfectly. You see that? It fits perfectly all the way up to 172 for the width. I don't think they make phones anymore, the so-called smartphones are that size. I don't even remember if they were ever that small, but because you see, so it'll work perfectly. There you go. And that's it. That's basically the tutorial. And you see, so now we have it. Now, obviously, if you don't want this gap, you can change this gap. You guys saw how I did it. The gap, I put it at 10 pixels. So just be careful with this, because this is actually 20 pixels, and I'll explain why that is. So obviously, the gap is everywhere, top, bottom, left, and right. So obviously, if there's 10 pixels here, for this first, the tux guy, this cube one is also going to have 10 pixels here. So that's what's going to be 20. So if you actually want a gap of, say, 10 pixels, you have to make it 5. So that's how it will be. And obviously down here, same thing. If I wanted this to be 10, I would actually make it 5 here and 5 here. So that's how you would that's how it would work. So that's basically it. That's basically all I wanted to show you. It's this little trick, a CSS trick to for grid overlapping. And as I said, you don't need all this fancy stuff like JavaScript and adding all this thing. And this is much more easier, I said, than using position absolute and all that stuff. Is it? Look how just with a few lines of code, and that's it. You don't have to do the position absolute. Because I said the problem with the position absolute is you will need to adjust it on when the screen is smaller, and that will be a pain in the butt. So this is just a much better way, and things scale properly as you just saw, right? So that's it. So and remember, these images are very different. This is actually a square. This one is 16 by 9. This is also 16 by 9. Okay, so we can finish this up very quickly. A quick reminder that I do a live stream every single day. On the few days this month where I will not do a live stream, I'll make sure there's a video for you guys. It will be live at the same time as the live stream usually is. And also be sure to subscribe, like, follow, and leave comments for more frequent content. I do appreciate people who have subscribed even right now at the beginning of this month. Thank you very much. If you guys have any requests or you want me to do something specific, let me know. I have some, I've ordered some stuff. I will do some reviews of that. Most of it is tech related. What I mean is, for example, like I bought a mic. I want to test it out. The reason is I want to show you guys some stuff outside, like for example, where I'm going to put the solar panels. The solar panels are meant to be as a backup, especially this year when there was power went out for 17 hours. I think one of the hydro lines fell just down the street. So there's little things like that. And I said it's also for the chicken webcam because I want to put something inside the hoop coop, so that way you guys can see how everything runs. And the chickens will be happy because I'll have heating for them if we have another harsh winter like this one. And also during summer, they could have a fan or something as well. Okay, and also with that out of the way, if you need help with CSS Grid, you can contact me for one-on-one HTML5 tutorials. If you're looking for personalized help with CSS Grid, HTML5, or any other web development topics, feel free to reach out to me for one-on-one tutorials. Whether you're a beginner or looking to dive deeper into advanced layout techniques, I can tailor the sessions to your needs. So available for one-on-one sessions, custom lessons, and hands-on support, flexible scheduling to fit your time zone. You can contact me directly, or you can use the form. They can click this link here. Just go to jambo.com. You go to the contact page, or you can go to the contact page of jamboservices.com. So jamboservices.com might be a little bit better because if I'm not available, like I said, I'm going to be I won't be able to do a live stream, so my partner will be able to help you with that as well. Or if you schedule, maybe I'll be able to help you as well. And then, so that's it. If you guys have any, I don't see any chat requests, so I'm going to end this now, and I'll see you next time. So be sure to subscribe, like, follow, and leave comments for more frequent content. Thank you very much, and I'll see you tomorrow.